Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first AMS session of this year, and with a very interesting and very loud project of this year, of year 2021. I think probably the loudest project so far, CasperLabs. We're very blessed with Neil, who is part of the team since ever, I think, and we'll try to find out what this project is all about. If you've heard about this project only now for the first time, you probably missed the first part of the general show in the world to try to participate in this, financial side of the deal. But definitely, as more things are coming out with more announcements and more developments, there's definitely more and more coming out. More and more announcements and more developments will be there in the market. So it's definitely very interesting to have a look at what the guys are preparing at the moment, what we should get ready for, and what opportunities we're having as developers, as community members, and potential investors as well. Just a very brief talk, a very brief, let's say, rule that we had pre-announced before the AMS session. We're going to distribute out of our own tokens, which tokens we'll talk a little bit later, to the three most interesting questions that you guys will be asking in the chat room below this video on YouTube. So please be active. And the way we'll structure it is we'll have a series of questions and answers at the moment with Neil from CasperLabs. And towards the end of this session, we'll go through all of your questions that you're writing right now in the chat room. So please be active. Please write down those questions, and we'll try to cover them as much as possible. So Neil, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Oleg. Happy to be here.
Great. So just for the geography, I mean, crypto is very, very dispersed in terms of territories and geographies. Where are you based at the moment?
So I'm currently in Puerto Rico. I split my time between here and New York. But in terms of our company and our domicile, we're based out of Zug, Switzerland. We've been decentralized in fashion from the beginning. So we have, over 30 developers scattered across the globe. Our CTO is currently on the West Coast with our CEO on the East Coast in New York. So we've always been very decentralized. But yeah, I'm currently calling in from Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's kind of strange to see you very well dressed for Puerto Rico. I mean, you would imagine that it's a place where you would have sun and like cocktails and sunbathing suits and stuff like that.
Yeah, if this wasn't a video call, I'd have my shirt off and I'd be wearing flip-flops. So
got it. All right. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you find yourself in this phenomenal team?
Yeah, sure. So my background is traditional financial planning and analysis. I went to undergrad and grad school in Western New York. From there, I actually moved to New York City and worked for several different startups based there, mostly doing financial planning and analysis prior to entering the blockchain space. The most recent before entering crypto was a luxury e-commerce marketplace where I was the director of operations and head of product. Helped take the company public on the Australian exchange. We raised about, I think, 15 million from an IPO. And from there, our CTO at the time, he introduced me to Bitcoin, Ethereum, just initially as an investor, but I became totally fascinated with the underlying technology, which of course is blockchain. And the more I asked questions, the more he kind of mentored me in the space. And then he eventually introduced me to Scott Walker and Brock Pierce and their fund at the time called DNA. So I was hired to DNA on the business development team of this company known as DNA Next, which was ultimately focusing on post-fundraising consulting and advisory for notable projects in the space. And that's where I was first introduced to the Casper team. And I heard Mrinal speak, and I was really aligned with Mrinal and Meta, our CTO, were setting forth to do. And I was an early equity investor in the project and just became a huge advocate for Casper. I was hired full-time shortly after that when they first formed the business team. I've been with the team for well over 2 years, and I helped head up business development, which encompasses everything from strategic partnerships, both enterprise and emerging markets, working closely with our tech and implementation teams there, as well as investor relations, exchange relationships, and also helping manage our 35-person advisor board.
Wow. Yeah, that's massive background. And yeah, cool. So going back to CasperLabs, so what I mean, there's so many different stories about it, with Vlad spinning out some things from Ethereum, then having roots to Ethereum or not having the roots. Can you just shed a little bit of light into this story? Like, how did it all happen? How did it all start?
Yeah, sure. I'll dive into, you know, some of the roots and how it came about, but ultimately, yeah, it was derived from Ethereum in a sense where, you know, back in 2017, Vitalik understood that there was a severe scalability problem with Ethereum, not to mention the energy consumption that was occurring just from mining alone, right? So he hired a researcher to figure out what consensus algorithm could be more efficient and more scalable. And you know, Ethereum was presented with a version of Casper, not what it is today, but definitely a version of it, which kind of provided the starting point for the architecture. And what happened was there was a lot of issues for Ethereum to try to migrate to a proof of stake network or even a hybrid network. You know, they had over 4 billion in mining equipment. There was legacy contracts that they couldn't migrate onto a new network. So, you know, what they're trying to ship right now is Ethereum 2.0, but ultimately for Ethereum to reach a level of scalability that Casper has, they would have to ship Ethereum 3.0, which, you know, this is 3 to 4 years away minimum. Some don't even think that they'll ever get there, because for Ethereum to accomplish this, it's essentially like trying to change 4 engines on an airplane while mid-flight. So there's a lot of challenges associated.
That sounds harsh, man.
No, not to knock them. You know, we
no, I hear you.
Yeah, we were co-sponsors, headline sponsors of DevCon Osaka. You know, Ethereum is an amazing community, and we owe a lot of you know, what we've accomplished, and we also share research with them as well too. So there's a lot of positive things, but ultimately, yeah, that's how our roots have kind of derived from Ethereum, and I'm happy to even like dive into you know, what CasperLabs is doing, which is different from what it initially was created for in terms of Ethereum.
Yeah, so that would probably be very interesting to touch upon. And I mean, if you allow me to throw a little bit more things on the table at the moment.
Of course.
I mean, we all know that, you know, back in 2017, when everybody started facing the limitations of Ethereum with scalability and, you know, all the other things that you already mentioned, apparently there was a wave of all these different protocols, right, that started sort of appearing, blossoming. And number one, you had so many of them that did not succeed. And then you have like a whole bunch of the other guys that are now sort of trying to fight in the same sphere right now with apparently Polkadot, you know, Polygon, Solana, and, you know, more protocols yet to come, right? Not to mention them. With you coming to this space, how do you find yourself, like, you know, along this pretty much saturated space already, right? In terms of maybe the tech side, how you different or not? In terms of the client side, probably. I mean, are you trying to target something different that the guys are not targeting at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm happy to dive into that. You know, I think one important thing, you know, which we believe in, is that up to date with all of these different layer ones, and of course the space is pretty saturated. We don't believe that there has been a fully decentralized, truly decentralized, or fully permissionless network that exists except for Ethereum and Bitcoin. That's our belief, right? You know, most of these other protocols, you know, Algorand, Polkadot, Solana, there are certain pockets of control that exist. And with pockets of control comes parties that can potentially take over the network. You know, a lot of these guys only use this level of security known as metastable security, where they only sample part of their user base, which makes them more subject to attacks. You know, there's specific security thresholds also with Casper, which are inherently ideal. Our system requires not only like a 51% attack, but technically just to break through the first of many security layers, it would actually require a 2/3 attack or 66.6%, which just provides one added level of security. In differences between us and other layer ones, one is we've built our first virtual machine from scratch, and that's on purpose. It's a Turing complete smart contract system. Another is, we've done a lot of fundamental work on our consensus protocol. Our head researcher, Dr. Daniel Kane, he's got a Wikipedia page, please check it out. He's a dual PhD from Harvard and MIT. He's one of the most renowned mathematicians in North America, currently a tenured professor at UC San Diego. He's the one who brought our consensus, the CBC Casper consensus algorithm to life. He's the one responsible for the liveness proofs. And also, he's contributed substantially in regards to security and maintaining decentralization. And this consensus algorithm has been peer reviewed by Trail of Bits, a code auditor. We've also had a peer review by Cornell University. And our smart contract code is also currently being audited by QuantStamp. In addition to what differentiates ourselves from other layer ones, we're also enterprise ready, right? We don't have proprietary programming languages like most blockchains. Cardano requires Plutus, Ethereum requires Solidity. If you want to build on the Casper network, you can program in Rust, TypeScript, AssemblyScript, JavaScript, basically any object-oriented programming language, which really lowers the barriers to enterprise and developer adoption. All of our contracts are upgradable, so post-deploy upgrades are still possible. One of the biggest barriers to blockchains is they say it's very slow to upgrade. Casper solves that problem as well. So ultimately what we're doing is we're making the developer experience ideal for enterprises. We look at ourselves as not like a crypto blockchain for crypto kitties and dApps. Of course, they can build on us. We're a permissionless network, and that's okay if they want to build on us. That's not a problem. But ultimately, we view ourselves as an enterprise solution. And CasperLabs is ultimately going to be a consulting and advisory arm for businesses that want to scale utilizing blockchain. Right now, we're doing it for free, right? So we're building adoption, we're getting use cases and creating case studies, but ultimately what CasperLabs will be doing will be charging for these services to ultimately give enterprises white glove service on utilizing the Casper network.
Right.
One of the last features, CasperLabs, like I mentioned, is our for-profit company eventually, but we can talk more about public versus private blockchains. A lot of enterprises and businesses choose to go with something like a private instance like Corda or Hyperledger because a lot of this data is sensitive and they don't want it public. So businesses either go all in on a public network like Ethereum or you use a private instance. And one of the core features of Casper is also that it allows for a hybrid implementation. So we're able to capture market share from private blockchain customers, but you can also receive all the benefits of a public chain and distributed ledger technology without sacrificing. So those are a few factors, and I'll add a few more points of color. Adding to the decentralization factor, when I say I'm referring to the Casper Association, which is actually a separate entity to CasperLabs. But we also just had one of the most distributed public sales in history on CoinList. And we can get into that soon. I think that's another one of our questions. So,
definitely. Just wait.
Yeah. And then lastly, on top of that, we also have a partner called the xDai or DevDAO, where essentially we're helping drive and encourage developer adoption. We've allocated 16%. The association has allocated 16% of total CSPR supply towards grants and projects for developers that are building on the network. So it's just another way to increase adoption while maintaining a level of decentralization. And then there's finally, other features like weighted key management, continuous integration and deployment, and also flexible payment code, which all contribute towards why Casper differentiates itself from some of the other major blockchains that are in existence today.
No, but definitely tell this, because this is actually even news to myself. So maybe some of the things that you could elaborate a little bit on these things in terms of the keys and so on.
Yeah. So let's talk about gas fees, for example. Right now, it's difficult. If you're utilizing Ethereum, gas fees are ridiculously high, right? So it's actually antithetical if you think about it. The more utilization on a network, the more expensive it gets. It really doesn't make sense. That's not how our network works, right? If there's more utilization, the gas fees will be pegged and they'll be stable. Also, at the same point, you can choose who actually pays the gas fees, right? Most blockchains just the sender pays the gas fees automatically. On the Casper network, you can delegate who actually pays the gas fees. So, you know, in summary, Casper is a developer-friendly network. We provide scalability without sacrificing decentralization to drive adoption. And you know, after the presentation for you to share with the community, I can give you like a brief information on all the different features that we have, where we compare ourselves to other networks as well.
Oh, that'll be great. That'll be great. Cool. So just, you know, following to what you've just mentioned, that, okay, you have the industrial part of basically focusing on B2B clients, not compromising on the you know, on making the blockchain private, right? Making sure that it still, you know, stays as a public and open blockchain. But on the other hand, you're saying that still with the current flows that are happening in the blockchain sphere, you definitely look at them as well, right? I mean, and the hottest topics right now in blockchain are definitely DeFi, NFTs, and probably DAOs as well. So I've already, I've already heard that. I mean, we all have already, you know, seen that you've announced, you know, partnerships with Terra Virtua and some other guys from NFT space. Any probably specific plans for NFT and DeFi, or this is just a hype for you, so you're not really looking at them?
So, you know, I do believe that there's definitely a market for both. Obviously, the DeFi market is crazy right now, and we've seen a $1 billion NFT industry appear out of thin air. And of course, you know, in order to be progressive in this space, we're definitely doing things to ensure that we're players on both of those fronts. In regards to DeFi, we're working with a few different projects, and we have an entire advisor vertical that's primarily focused on DeFi to make sure that initiatives are underway. One of our partners is Frontier X. You know, Frontier is a chain agnostic DeFi aggregation layer. They currently support 10 blockchains, and more will be added. Casper will be one of those 10s. They have several, you know, DeFi layer 2s and layer 3s allowing users to actually make the most of their crypto in a completely decentralized way. You know, utilizing different platforms as well in terms of swaps and lending, as well as yield generating opportunities. So in terms of what Casper is going to be doing with Frontier, and we haven't officially announced a partnership yet, but ultimately it'll be an integration with Casper that would allow supporting our Casper wallet, staking in phase 1, and of course, adding relevant DeFi dApps. As we grow further along. That's one of our partners. Another partner that we've already announced is Plasma Pay and Plasma Finance. Plasma Pay has a DeFi dashboard, which aggregates you know, some of the most popular DeFi protocols from different blockchains and allow users to manage their portfolio in one interface. It's pretty cool. They also have a trusted on-off ramp for fiat, which will enable the purchase and sale of CSPR once we start trading, you know, following mainnet launch, which just occurred a few weeks ago. But also they have a DEX, which they're going to be building on Casper, which is called Plasma Swap. This will support swaps, token trading, you know, trading pairs as well. And on top of that, we're also working with different bridge solutions. Plasma has a feature called Hyperloop, which they'll be utilizing to basically allow for blockchain interoperability between Ethereum, Binance, and the Casper blockchains. It's ultimately a bridge for liquidity. These are a few things, right? But also, you know, we have other DEXs being built on Casper today. Then we'll have automated market makers, or AMMs. And we're also talking to a few centralized banks in terms of having a stable coin on the Casper network. And then the applications will come. So we definitely have a DeFi plan. It's not the highest in our priorities, but it's definitely something that we're actively working on. And there's a lot of grants in regards to the DAO, the dev DAO that we're working with, to ensure that we're a contender in the DeFi space.
Right.
Moving on to NFTs and NFTs, you know, there's a lot of hype around NFTs, and personally, like, you know, digital collectibles to me personally haven't been like something where I thought would become such a massive industry. Where I see NFTs going and where I see the value in them is in terms of like certificates of authenticity, right? Like I have a watch. If my watch comes with, instead of a paper certificate of authenticity, I have that on the blockchain. It can't be counterfeited. I find a lot of value there, right? So we're working with many organizations for innovative applications in regards to NFT outside of just just the digital collectibles world. But of course, we're also working with projects like Terra Virtua, WISeKey. We're talking to NFT studios, Crypto Motors. We're talking to a lot of these guys. I'll start with Terra Virtua first. Anyone on the Terra Virtua marketplace can use Casper's verification capabilities for any physical goods they buy on the platform. So not just digital goods, right? They have an actual physical substance behind them. This creates peace of mind when buying tokens that represent real world collectibles. Also discussing some particular NFTs that will only be available via Terra Virtua on the Casper blockchain. So we're in conversations with them about specific collectibles that you can only access on the Terra Virtua platform via Casper. So that's interesting, and we'll have more information on those particular collectibles as we progress in our partnership. The other partnership that I wanted to talk about was WISeKey. The first application of our partnership with them will be around creating the ability for auctioning of digital twins of artwork, luxury collectibles, and all these other types of art and digital collectible pieces. So it's a really exciting partnership, and we have some big announcements that are on the horizon with them. But ultimately, with the support of the Casper network, WISeKey's digital identification NFT platform will be able to run on the Casper network to deliver secure and scalable blockchain backend for creating real digital twins of physical objects, which is a really cool application in my opinion. It's a unique approach, and it allows a possibility, to mint digital versions into an NFT, or sorry, physical versions into a digital NFT. And it helps remove some of the uncertainty around NFTs and some of the credibility in the space. So like I said, we're working with tons of different organizations to create relevance in the NFT space, not just around digital collectibles, but around verification and authenticity, which I think is really important.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, we've just discussed off the record, let's say, some of the great announcements that you guys are cooking. I mean, fingers crossed that it'll all come to life, and it would be definitely great to be among the first ones to actually hear about this. And definitely good luck with this. It's really some of the stuff that you're doing, guys. I mean, preparing right now is really massive anyway.
Yeah, no, thank you. We have a very steady drumbeat of announcements. I'm not sure how close you've been following, but just, last week alone, we had 4 different announcements between Terra Virtua, WISeKey, Threefold, and another project as well. So yeah, there's definitely a steady drumbeat. So if you're not following our blog right on our site, CasperLabs.io, please feel free to subscribe so that you can keep up to date with all the
yeah, definitely, guys. If you're watching it right now, or you will be watching it in the recording, definitely go to CasperLabs.io and definitely follow the guys in Telegram, because tons of announcements are actually coming out live pretty much. And this is the first place where all the announcements are coming out, right? So if you want to be really on the verge of the information, this is very important. Anyway, for those of you who are just joining in, I'm seeing your questions, guys. We're going to have a section after we finish up our major topics that we summarize from the preliminary questions that we received from you. So please keep on writing down the questions. We'll definitely get back to you, and we'll go through these questions. And thanks for your for being so active, guys. So, moving on to the speculative side of your business. Sorry about this. I get it avoided. I'm sure you know it, right? So CoinList sale. What the heck happened? I mean, you guys broke all the records like anybody could imagine. I don't know how many subscribers you had, like few 100,000, right?
Yeah. So, I can't speak too much on the speculative part. You're more than welcome to ask the questions anyways. But yeah, in regards to the CoinList sale, right, this was held by the Casper Network and the Casper Association alongside with CoinList. And yeah, I mean, there was unprecedented demand, just some rough numbers. We had over 300,000 unique registrations for
300,000. Oh my God.
Sir.
Okay.
Yeah. To put things in perspective, their most successful sale prior to the Casper public sale was Flow, which I think is trading at nearly $30 at a $45 billion market cap. And they had, they started trading, they listed on CoinList at about 10 cents a token, and they had 20,000 unique registrants. So
wait a second, just let me get it straight, right? So they had 20,000, you have 300,000.
Yeah, unique registrations. It's slightly
Jesus.
different token distribution models, but yeah, that's just to kind of put things into perspective. Where it's tough because at the same time, we're happy to have the demand that we did, but at the same time, it puts us in a precarious position because you can't please everybody. We had 3 different rounds of the sale. Combined, they all sold out, I think, in a little over 3 hours. But because of the unprecedented demand, we actually, talked to the association. We're able to allocate another option of the sale to get tokens in another 15,000 hands. So. Sure. So, we've done as much as we could on that front to try to, maintain the public sale in an as decentralized fashion as possible. But at the end of the day, with this type of demand, it's very difficult to please everyone, and this is why we encourage everyone to follow the project and understand what the substance is behind it instead of just trying to purchase tokens. And of course, when we list and start trading on exchanges, there's obviously the opportunity there as well for them. So. Yeah, the CoinList sale, the CoinList, what contributed to this? I think it's a lot of things, right? One is CoinList is a phenomenal partner. They have a massive user base and they have a great community that they're able to tap into. On top of that, we've had a lot of substance with our project. As I've mentioned a few times, we don't consider ourselves a crypto project. We consider ourselves an enterprise business that happens to have a utility token that provides a purpose on our network. And the purpose of these public sales is not to raise funds as much as it is to decentralize the network, right? Get tokens as many holders' hands as possible so they can run validating nodes and help us decentralize the network. And that's what's very important about this. But of course, we have a phenomenal marketing team and had a steady drumbeat of announcements. So I think all of those things, as well as one of the most important factors, the massive bull market that we're in, has contributed to the success of the sale.
Sure. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely something that I don't know. I haven't seen anything close to what you guys actually implemented. That's very true. And I mean, fair enough with with the situation when you have such a massive demand with so many people. Apparently, you cannot please everybody. Otherwise, it would just make no sense. And then, of course, you had so many years before the CoinList sale, right? So pretty much most of the guys who would actually have access to to the ecosystem, they actually had a chance to invest early stage, right, back in 2019 in 2020 and so on. So yeah, it's I totally hear you, man. It's very fair. Yeah. So it's kind of sad that I cannot show you the coin market cap sort of indications right now. Let me go to it just very quickly. So from what I know, in the morning, something that is called CasperLabs token, which is very surprising, cost about $3.5, right? And right now, I don't know if you see it, it's 3.49. I'm sure it's not a token, it's just a LOU or whatever it's called, right? Can you comment on that? I mean, in terms of what is happening, whether the price levels, are they meeting your expectations, you as a team personally? I mean, of course, with what you can say. I mean, I know you are on the your legal team might go after you afterwards, but
I can't speak on personal speculations. Again, we focus more on the company's core fundamentals and not necessarily what the token's trading at. What I can say is what you're seeing on CoinMarketCap has nothing to do directly with Casper as of now. Those aren't official Casper tokens. This is some sort of like future derivative or IOU that someone unaffiliated with the Casper Association is doing. So all I can do is encourage you not to consider this as any real reflection of what the Casper price will be. All Casper.
I would support that. I would totally support it. Yeah.
Yeah. All CSPR are currently locked and not transferable until, until trading day in early May. So, so once we start trading, that and only that will be, and will we and the rest of the world see what the actual market values the Casper token at. But again, unfortunately, I can't speak on speculation. Obviously I want to see, the project and adoption occur. And which of course will cause demand of the utility token and causing the price to rise. But that's probably the most I can speak on it.
Got it. No, I mean, that's not the only thing you can speak of. You already mentioned, from what I heard, that early May we should be expecting some exchanges, right? Is that correct?
That's correct. We haven't finalized any of those details yet, but yeah, stay tuned and we'll definitely be announcing that information. At least the exchanges will be, or the association maybe, but this is unaffiliated with CasperLabs. Like
Right.
I mentioned before, CasperLabs is mostly focused on the consulting and advisory around building, helping enterprises scale with blockchain. And then the Casper Association, which is the not-for-profit association, is currently in discussions with exchanges for listing.
Right. Okay. So guys, for those of you who didn't pay attention to this, again, early May, get ready, because something is crazy going to be happening on the major exchanges. And I guess we should all get prepared for this. Well, thanks very much, Neil. If you don't mind, I will jump into some of the questions that we're having. The questions that I keep receiving are related to some of the topics that we've already covered. But I will probably pick some of those that stand out a little bit, if you don't mind. So one of the questions from IcoDoc, who created the technical architecture of your blockchain? Was there any scientific research before that? And are there any computer science scientists on the team? I know you covered it a little bit, but if you could just elaborate a little bit, this would be great.
Yeah, sure thing. Give me 1 second here. I prepared some information on this.
That's great.
But yeah, so the technical architecture was created by members of the CasperLabs team. Mernal, our CEO, helped actually spec it. Meta, our CTO, is the one who was responsible for bringing the team together. There was a lot of research that was utilized from a independent researcher that we granted on the Casper network as well. But there are quite a few actual computer engineering scientists that work on the team. And if you check out CasperLabs.io, you can go right to company and you can see meet our team, and that goes through our entire dev team. So we have Andreas Fakler, Matthew Wampler Doty, who is he wrote the mining algorithm for ETH hash. So our core team is, we're a tech first company. So we focus more so on the science and the technology behind CasperLabs than we do focus on anything else, right? So yeah, check out CasperLabs.io and check out the Meet Our Team page. But yes, we have quite a few research scientists that are full-time members of the team. As I mentioned, right now, I think we have 36 full-time developers, which includes our research scientists. As well as economists, and these guys are not just engineers, right? These guys are PhDs in computer science or mathematics. So,
this is quite an expensive team, guys.
yeah, we have 35 members now, and we're hiring extensively. So we plan by the end of 2021 to have over 75 engineers, research scientists on the team, and as well as a lot more solutions architects and product managers to help with integrations.
Cool. All right. Let me give you this one. This is a very funny one. Mamur Muradov. What should my grandma know to get into it?
Oh man, the problem is when grandma starts to ask is when you get out.
Exactly. But see, you're locked, man. You're online. I'm sorry.
All right. So if you want to explain Casper to your grandma, what you can say is, Casper is utilizing a level of internet technology to help large scale businesses scale. It allows for enterprises to scale utilizing latest technology. Obviously, you can use the word blockchain, or you can refer to, hey, grandma, you know what Bitcoin is? Well, Casper's kind of like this, but very different. I think that's my best way of explaining this, thinking of how I would explain it to my grandmother. But yeah, ultimately, what we're doing and setting forth to do is we built a blockchain which doesn't sacrifice any of the three: scalability, decentralization, or security, right? And we brought that to market, and now we're working with a lot of different enterprises and governments to actually execute.
Right. Got it. Well, let's hope that your grandma is sort of loyal to Bitcoin, because some of them would just say, okay, all this crypto is for the gangsters and drug dealers and whatnot, right? So you don't want to meet.
Which is crazy to me, because with modern AML practices and the fact that crypto and blockchain technology is completely traceable and it's all on a ledger, that's not the case. And even what some are saying that crypto is primarily used for illegal transactions, that's false. It's really not, and it's more traceable than most. Like even these days with reporting, and the IRS is all over it. It's on all the tax forms in the U.S. So that's one thing that I want to say that's simply not true. Right.
Well, there's another. I mean, there's actually tons of questions about the bottlenecks that CasperLabs would be solving versus Ethereum, apparently, and probably some of the other solutions. I know you mentioned it pretty much like earlier, at the very beginning, but if you could probably pinpoint this specific case, because I believe this is like really a killer feature for you guys. This would be very good.
Yeah, in terms of bottlenecks, the major issue that we're experiencing with Ethereum and some of the older legacy networks is obviously just scalability and transaction fees, right? Even energy consumption, which is an interesting fact. So the Casper network we just launched. We plan on having about 100 nodes up and running in the next few weeks. The Casper network, even at 400 nodes, is 47,000% more energy efficient compared to Ethereum currently.
No, wait. So 400 nodes now on mainnet.
No. Right now we have under 100, but I'm saying if planning on at Casper with 400 nodes, from an energy efficiency perspective, we're 47,000% more efficient compared to Ethereum, and
47,000% more efficient. Jesus. Okay, got it.
136,000% more efficient compared to Bitcoin.
So 136,000. That's 136,000%.
Yeah, I mean we're a proof of stake network, right? You don't require server farms of ASIC chips to participate and to earn rewards, right? You stake your tokens on the network, you spin up a node, you provide validation, and you're earning yield, right? So it's a much different model, but just it's important to realize that one of the major bottlenecks is an economical situation around energy consumption. And that's a problem, right? Bitcoin mining is consuming the entire GDP of the country of Iceland. So that's one bottleneck that most people don't understand, but it is a major concern. And I'll dive into the other bottlenecks, which comes around scalability and transaction fees that I mentioned earlier. We're able to stabilize our gas fees. They don't work in an antithetical way like Ethereum, where the more utilization of the network, the higher your gas fees. And of course, given that we're a proof of stake network, there's a scalability factor in terms of just transactions per second. As of now, we have an order of magnitude faster than Ethereum currently. And the more nodes that we get up and running, and as we upgrade the network, that will increase as well.
So basically, we're talking you are truly decentralized from day one, right? There's no centralization like the other chains that we don't mention here.
Correct.
It's scalable. It's the gas fees are manageable, and they do not increase as the workload increases. Anything else I'm missing?
Security. We've ran through multiple code audits. We have that level of security. And because of the fact of the decentralization, it also provides, it's a permissionless network, but it provides a level of security as well too.
Right, right. Okay, yeah. You were mentioning that in order to break your code basically and compromise the whole network, you actually do not. I mean, you need more than 51% of
That's
of
just
the
to
power,
break
right?
through
Computer.
one layer of security. That's not even to break
Jesus.
the network. That's just for one layer of security. Yeah.
Got it. Wow, interesting. Okay, let me get another one. Nast, I think, the nick of the guy. CasperLabs, does it give opportunities to developers? Are you planning to popularize this direction in the near future? Maybe hackathons, contests for developers?
Absolutely. We're already working with Gitcoin. We'll be announcing a major hackathon that'll occur in the next few months. We're working with a company called InnoBooster out of Switzerland as well to do a major hackathon in August of this year. It'll be an in-person one in Switzerland, which we're really excited about. On top of that, one of the biggest incentives for developers is the DevDAO that we've partnered with, right? You can visit them at devxdao.com, or sorry, .io, I believe. Let me check real quick. Yeah, it's DevXDAO is the organization, and it's they're basically what they are is they're an autonomous organization that provides incentives and grants for anyone that wants to develop or provide some sort of development for the Casper network. And
Right.
the site is devxdao.com. But yeah, again, we've given them 16% of we've at least allowed them to use up to 16% of total supply. The association has allowed this, and
Right.
it's all for grants. It's all to spur developer adoption and to build on the network. So individual developers can take a look at the grants that are available and begin working on them. They can actually also pitch as well too. So you can apply for your own grant on a specific need for the Casper protocol. And there's a lot of educational resources through the DevDAO as well too. So I urge anyone who's a developer that wants to become more familiar with the Casper network to visit the DevDAO and participate in some of the grant programs that they have going on.
Oh, that's very good. So guys, once again, for developers, devxdao.io, if I'm getting it right, .com, sorry. 16% of all Casper tokens are basically allocated as resources to this entity, let's say, to make sure that the ecosystem grows and developments happen. So please make sure that you don't miss it out, really. The next one from Alexander Petrusenko. How do you become a validator in the network? Any privileges? Any way to actually get there in the early stage? What are the terms, prices, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So, one of the biggest things is you would need to hold tokens in some capacity to be able to spin up a node, given that we're a proof of stake network. So, after tokens start freely trading in May, anyone that has tokens can, check out our GitHub, look at how to spin up a node, run their own node, stake their tokens to their own node, and start earning yield. So, we plan on being a fully permissionless network. So anybody will be able to fill the slots in regards to becoming a validator node, but there are specific voting and bid mechanisms in place in terms of how to join the network. What I encourage you to do is join Discord. That's where all the communication occurs in regards to becoming a validator on the Casper network. And also you'll be versed fully in regards to any of the upgrades that are coming up in the Casper network. So yeah, we're a permissionless network. You can definitely spin up your own node once you have a token allocation in some capacity, but there are some limitations there. So that's why I encourage you to join Discord to stay up to date there.
Nice. Got it. Thanks for such a specific answer. Next one from Roman Frolov. What do you see as your main competitors for CasperLabs?
So, that's a good question. I do think that in regards to capturing market share, there is a lot of opportunity in the public chain space. I don't want to talk badly about any other layer ones, but a lot of the current clients that we're interacting with weren't happy with things like Hyperledger. I mean, hell, IBM isn't happy with Hyperledger. So, I think that, we can say that private layer ones would definitely be a competitor to Casper because we're capturing market share from them. But really, ultimately, all layer ones could essentially be competitors, right? I personally don't think that right now there's going to be one winner. I think that we're still very early in the industry, and I think that adoption is something that every layer one should be focused on. I think there's plenty of seats at the table and everyone can eat right now. This is such a nascent and early industry where we're not focused on competition. We're just focused on industry-wide adoption. If Polkadot brings on a major enterprise partner, we're happy for the industry, for the space. It's not about competition right now. It's about making sure that the blockchain industry gets the institutional adoption we need to make sure that we're able to, maintain this level of momentum that we're currently experiencing.
Sure. Okay. Next one is from Vladimir Fisher. I would rephrase it a little bit. Can you share any big companies, big names that already invested in Casper? I mean, I know quite a few of them you actually have published on your website, but maybe if you could go through them.
Yeah, sure. So let me just pull up a quick synopsis. Yeah, so
sure.
Ultimately, we've had a few different rounds of funding between CasperLabs and the Casper Association. We had a Series A equity round, which was about 15 million back in 2019. Some notable participants, our lead investor, Aquitas, led by Taryn Pizer. It was their first investment in the blockchain space. Other notables are Hyundai, xDai, Hyundai Digital Asset Company, Rocktree Capital, Distributed Global, Blockchain Ventures, Arrington XRP Capital, and then out of China we had Hashkey, SNZ Holdings. Out of India we had Woodstock Fund, and a few others like Digital Strategies. That was just in the equity round. Between both validator sales, a lot of our equity holders also came in. Some new ones that came in as well too were Stakefish, Sora Ventures, Oasis Capital, Waterdrip Capital, some exchanges as well, like ZB, Gate.io, one of the biggest mining pools known as Bishan, OKX's fund Blockdream, and quite a few others. And those are just notable investors. We also have a lot of really notable partners that we've announced over the past year. One of the biggest in China would be our blockchain as a services network, BSN China. They're ultimately creating standardization for interacting with blockchains, and they currently have 16 blockchains that they work with. Casper is their 17th. Wow. Which is really great. We've also partnered with a company known as DApp Radar. They're essentially a platform where DApp developers can engage with layer ones. We were the 13th blockchain to be on DApp Radar and provide support there as well too. So yeah, we're doing a lot of work outside of just the investor side of things in terms of partnerships, and all of these announcements are available on our site via our blog, so feel free to check those out. But I think I did a good job at naming some of our core.
Totally, man. I mean, it's an impressive list. So here's the next one, and let's make it the last one, to be honest, and then we'll go to maybe some of the other discussions. And yeah, and the one that is probably either the most difficult or the easiest one. Where does the name come from? Casper, is it like a ghost or, I mean, cartoon character? Why Casper?
Yeah, so this was actually, we were working with Vlad Zamfir in terms of research, and the name came from ultimately where there was a problem in regards to scalability with Ethereum, and they called it, the problem was known as a greediest, heaviest observed subtree, or observable subtree, greediest, heaviest observable subtree. So the ghost problem. And when the first solution proposed to solve the ghost problem, they called it the friendly solution. Hence, from the 90s cartoon Casper the Friendly Ghost. Casper was derived from that. So it does come from the cartoon character. So that's what
but
it
it does have the technical meaning from the
there,
current problems
there's a
that we're still
technical meaning
experiencing.
to it with a cartoon nuance.
Got it. Well, Neil, thank you so much. It's been very, very enlightening, I would say, and very interesting. Now, I would have to charge you with a very difficult task. You have to name 3 questions that you liked, and later on we'll have to deal with the guys and come back to them with our prizes.
Okay. Number 1 for sure was the gentleman who asked how we would explain Casper to grandma. I thought that was hilarious. And,
got it. All right, put it in.
Number 2 would be the one who asked about the actual name Casper. I don't think we could ask that question enough. And I think, I think that the history of the name is important in terms of branding and recognition as well. And then lastly, I would say the question in regards to bottlenecks, right? I think that scalability is a major problem in blockchain, but on top of that, it's adoption, right? It's getting companies like Visa or MasterCard or some of these major players that know there's an added layer of security that occurs. So I think that the industry in general needs to address not only bottlenecks but also peace of mind when it comes to security, and hopefully they recognize that us here at CasperLabs are doing that. Right.
Great. Well, thanks so much again. For those of you who's watching this at the moment and probably will be seeing this in the recording, the 3 questions, we'll get back to you guys. If not, please visit us in Telegram, in the channel Ivanov Invest, underlined Rus as an RUS, and just write to the admins over there, or just leave your message right now under the video, and our team will get in touch with you. So we're talking about 3 questions. The question about the grandma, the question about the history of the name, where does the name Casper come from, and third about the bottlenecks. So you guys would be the ones who are winning our giveaway from our pocket, the pocket of Berezka Ventures and CB Capital. As you probably well know, no tokens are now available, so we will all have to wait and see when the tokens are released. The first rounds would be released, which is from what we get, which will happen like early May. Yeah. But
a date. The date will be May 4th is when the option 3 from the CoinList public sale fully unlocks and gets distributed. So May 4th is the day that everyone should.
Oh my God! So May the 4th be with us, right?
Exactly. Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with us.
Right, guys. This is very, very specific. I didn't know this. So basically, we're talking that CasperLabs will be listed on May 4th, and then you have to watch where. So make sure that you put it on your calendars, and this is going to be a big day. Neil, thank you so much again. And I'm not sure what time difference right now in your place. I hope you had some sleep or like whatever is happening there.
No problem. It's 10 a.m. here, so this is not an issue at all. I'm happy to have been a guest. Oleg, thank you so much for hosting me.
Thank you very much, and we'll definitely see you around some time in the future, definitely shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for participating. The team, I will probably switch to Russian right now to wrap it up a little bit. And Neil, thanks again. Друзья, всем спасибо большое, за то, что участвовали. Значит, мы вернемся к победителям нашего giveaway. Вы узнаете, что у нас там произошло. Ой, как интересно, мне теперь можно и тут быть. Ну, собственно, да, меня тут выключили, но не суть. Друзья, поэтому еще раз спасибо за сегодняшний эфир. Спасибо всем, кто участвовал. Спасибо за ваши вопросы. Очень, на самом деле, интересно получилось. Я предлагаю вам продолжить вопросы-ответы, если вы еще не получили ответы на ваши вопросы. Во-первых, пересмотрите видео, если вы подключились позже. На многие вопросы Нил, на самом деле, уже ответил в самом начале, пока мы шли и вели эту беседу. И, соответственно, если нет, просто оставьте свои вопросы, мы постараемся тогда уже в таком письменном режиме связаться с Нилом и его командой и вернуться с ответом. А так, всем еще раз спасибо за сегодняшний эфир, всем хорошей недели и, как всегда, попутного ветра. Пока-пока.